is okay.
Bam, we're live. Oh, you mean his address, Darian's?
Yeah.
We sent him shit before.
I think we have it.
I can
Was it
ask
Justin
him.
that we needed an address from then?
Yeah. You want to text him and ask him?
Yeah, I'll ask him.
Hey guys, I want to show you something here real quick before we start the show. This is, by the way, this is gonna be an insane show. I don't know who thought it. Is this your idea, Brian?
Nope.
Oh shit, Brian. John's got backup. Is that fair? 2-on-1. PEDs. He's using PEDs.
Sorry.
This is your idea, Brian?
No.
John Young's?
Yeah, and she just brought him some secret steroid sauce, I think.
Savage. It was probably Adderall or something.
That's why I'm so strong. This is
That was that covering the camera move. That's what Ben Gerard should have done back in 2017.
Oh shit. I want to show you guys something here real quick. It has nothing to do with the show. I had posted that 14 million trees were cut down in Scotland to make way for a wind farm, and I was making fun of that. Like, oh, you good job. And then someone in my family, super lib, fact checked it and is like, well, actually, those 14 million trees will be cut down over 20 years, and actually they'll replant all the trees, and actually they've since 2020 they've planted 270 million trees. I'm like, or no, so since 2000, Scotland's planted 272 million trees. And I'm like, oh, wow. So then I did a little fact checking myself. I did a little fact checking myself, and we come over here. And at this United Kingdom, Scotland Select a Region website, which is about global forestation, which has way more credibility than any of the fact checkers, you can see that actually in totality, Scotland has lost 20% of its forest. When I mean lost, I mean dudes cutting it down with axes and chainsaws and bulldozers since 2000. And that's the thing. People are tricked. They're like, well, they planted 272 million trees since 2000. That still doesn't mean shit if we don't know the net gain or net loss. So take your fact check and shove it up your.
This is a family member you're talking to?
Yeah. It's just
Got him.
Yeah. Bingo. Fact check your fact check.
And that website is much more credible because you say so?
Yeah, right. Thank you. Yes. No, I've found when a fact check says something like we've planted 270, you're trying to figure out whether there's more trees or less trees, and they just tell you how many they've planted. You have a problem. They're trying to deceive you. It's relative to the totality of number of trees. So if there were 100 million trees and we say we planted 50 million and never mentioned that we cut down 200 million, I may walk away thinking it's.
I'm just saying, this is everyone will go to whatever website and say, look.
I know what you were doing.
And it'll support whatever they want it to support.
Yeah. Well, I didn't do that. I just picked on the top. But this one's called Global Forest Watch, and I don't know.
And then you proclaimed it to be the most credible source.
Well, at least it shows. It's not that I'm not pitting. I'm comparing apples to oranges, and I'm showing that.
I'm
apples
just warming
are
up for John with you.
Okay. Fuck, you're
doesn't have
fucked,
to
John.
actually-
You're fucked, John.
Hey, I got my notes. I'm ready to go.
But pay attention, John. He's not going to attack the argument, just your sources.
Just
So
my
you gotta be wise there. You gotta be wise.
John,
there.
what is that shirt you're wearing there?
Who invited
Rogan-
Jeff?
Rogan
That's what I
Invitation.
don't know.
Why did you why didn't you wear the one from this year's qualifier? Did you not sign up for it?
I did not.
I was scouring the leaderboard. I thought you might be on there trying to get your place amongst the best.
No. I'm doing the fittest experience. I've talked to my coach. I would have liked to do Rogue, but my wife had a cycling race that weekend anyway, so it would have
If you
been
could
possible.
follow the rules for the Rogue Invitational, you might have a chance to make it.
I might have got in. Yeah.
I haven't even told a joke yet, Jeff. You must watch a lot of shows, buddy, to know that. You must watch a lot of shows.
Well, he does have an icon of just a little baby crying, so he sounds like a little whiner.
Sevan, have you seen what's going on with the Rogue Invitational leaderboard?
No, but I would like to. They're
terrible.
actually doing well. You say
There's two
it's,
bad things about it.
you
One,
say it's terrible, but at least they're making corrections.
I know, but this is the same thing that I would say to CrossFit. It's like,
Right.
Make the corrections, hold the athletes accountable, but don't just update the leaderboard randomly and sporadically. Say the leaderboard is not finalized, it's pending review. And then once
We
you've
did
made
talk
all
about
the
that
changes.
yesterday. Yep.
Just post the final leaderboard and say, boom, all the changes are in. this is the final leaderboard, because every day you wake up and it's like, oh, where'd Scott Tetlow go? Where'd Manu Nangonis go? Where did this person go? Where'd that person go? And you're like, oh, they must not have followed the rules. But then the next day you wake up and they're right back at the top of the leaderboard. It's like, what is happening?
Yeah, we
Drama.
were talking about that we were complimenting them that they were giving us a live update of the leaderboard, but that there should be an asterisk leaderboard changing regularly.
It does say that the leaderboard is not finalized.
It
but
does.
don't just make all these sporadic changes. I mean, it's good for guys like Barbell Spin, guy who's back in existence in the CrossFit world, apparently, that's also in the chat here, because he can post his little blurbs every once in a while, or updating the
Let me
the
see
world
that
and what's
site
going on there.
before I
No,
tell
go to
you.
his Instagram. I mean, this is a guy, I equate him to the Hiller of the written world, where he
You hate this guy too?
No, everyone's got their place. Everyone's got their place, and I think he has a similar name to me, actually. But he'll see something. It's good. He has a catchy title. He puts it out there, but it's an incomplete story. It's incomplete information. He doesn't wait for it to finish before talking about it. In this case, I'm not either, because the Rogue Invitational's leaderboard, I think, is just. While I was very complimentary of them on the bottom line with Lauren the other day in terms of the fact that they're holding the line, I wish that they would. It's really stressful for the athletes. They're like, the athletes are messaging me. What's going on? Is this finalized? How do I know? When will it be finalized? And people are trying to make plans. There's other competition organizers that want to invite people to their competitions, but they want to be respectful of the fact that those athletes will go to Rogue if they qualify. They're in a qualifying position, then they're not, then they get invited, then they're back inside of there, and then they have to tell them, actually, I think I might actually have made Rogue. I didn't know that. I thought 3 days ago I did. Yesterday I didn't. Today I do. It's not right. Make one adjustment, review all the leaderboards, adhere the penalties according to the rules, and then say, boom, here's our finalized leaderboard, and congratulations to these qualifiers.
You drank a lot of coffee this morning. You're succinct, on point.
10 hours of sleep.
Ready to fuck shit. Hey, go back to that website. That's a fucking dope website. That's what our website should look like.
I think that's Instagram.
No. Good. The Barbell Spin website is dope. Oh, that is.
It is clean. It's clean.
Oh, someone go to their website. I'm at their website. Their website is dope.
I really like that picture of all the placards at the games. I don't know who took that or where he got it, but I liked that picture a lot.
Go to can someone pull that up, Barb? Just go to barbellspin.com. First of all, I don't know anything about this guy, but I love his logo. The name of the website says it all. It's a spin, right? Barbell Spin. And the first thing I noticed, why don't more people talk about how hot Tia Toomey is?
That's the first thing you noticed?
Yeah, I guess maybe because she doesn't post thirst pics. She's cool. And then look at this site. This is Sousa. This is our site right here, dude. A fucking big photo, and then just latest news. And then we just slowly, as we grow the fucking Sevan Podcast empire, those are just articles. Oh, look at it. He even gives me credit. I fucking love this guy. But trust me, Barbell Spin Brian will not be coming on the show again the way he talked about you. I apologize. This is his last. John, you're in trouble. This is Brian's last hurrah.
His name's also Brian. He just posts by Brian. No last name.
And he's a one-man show. He just fucking just.
I'm not sure. I think so. He wasn't reporting for a while, and then about a month ago or so, he just started doing that again. I think it's good.
You know who he is?
Only by. No, I've never met him or spoke to him.
God, that sucked what happened to Becky Konzelman.
Oh, God. Don't bring that up.
Okay, well, sorry. I just see it in the news here. I really liked her.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And she was cool to talk to, too. She was just a cool dude.
Yeah, and what she's choosing to do with her life and, the opportunities she created were great.
All right. Why do you got to bring that up?
Yeah.
The show, I don't think there's any way in hell we can get through these, but I want to read you some of the fucking battles we're going to read this morning. What's better for the sport, parity or dominance? I don't know what that means.
Anyone to set the premise for the show?
Oh, please go ahead.
John, this is your idea.
So basically we came up with some topics that we like to debate all the time. Just during the games, or like these are the conversations that you have with everybody that enjoys CrossFit or the sport of CrossFit, as far as who's better here, who's better there, and we're just gonna kind of have a debate show where I have a take or Brian has a take, and the other one has to take the other side, and we're gonna argue our takes and then see who the public agrees with more.
And you guys already know that you guys don't agree with any of these?
We had a very brief conversation, but we'll try to, even if we do agree, we'll try to present the argument for both sides.
Right. Yeah. So if we do agree, it is the job of the other person to take the other side and make a case.
And this is a premise that goes back to anyone who's ever done like a high school debate team or club or anything like that. You would be on the bus driving to some place and someone would say, okay, here's the topic. And then they'd say, boom, John, you have the pro, Brian, you have the young, and the idea, or the con. And the idea,
yeah.
and the idea is that if you are really knowledgeable about the topic, you could argue either way.
Sousa gone. Oh, Caleb, can't we just steal this barbell spin website? Can't we just like hire? Hey, Sousa, can't we just hire someone to? Sousa, can you hear me? Can we just steal this website? Can we just like where it says barbell spin, put the Sevan Podcast and like just like
it's probably just a template of a website.
Can't someone just grab that and just
we'll reference it over to our people and we'll see how much they could just mock it up. Maybe they'll just steal the whole thing exactly.
And maybe we could just buy that dude's website. Can that dude come work for us so I can watch him and Brian fight? I just really like this. This is cool. And it's got Mal and Tia and Laura Horvat. Hey, Mal's going to be an American. Mal's going to okay, so that's okay. I'm distracted. What is better for the sport, parity or dominance? Meaning different champions or the Matt Fraser shit or and Tia shit, or it changing every year, right?
Yeah. So basically what we had this year in the men's side, where we did not know who was going to win until it happened, versus Tia when you know she's going to win.
Will Matt be the next Tia when Tia is gone? Mal. Will Mal be the next Tia when Tia is gone? Maybe will Mal be the next Tia like before Tia is gone? Do we know if Tia is staying or going?
She has given a lot of statements that make me think she's retiring, but obviously until she does it, it's not official.
Didn't Shane say 7 sounds better than 6?
I think Tia said that.
I thought Shane posted on his Instagram, Sevan sounds better than 6.
You're trying to get me going again, Sevan?
Can Vellner, Fikowski, and Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson ever beat Justin, Roman, Ricky again? Oh, this one's savage. I can't wait to see how fucking Brian fucking wiggles his way out of this one. This is between being a rock and a hard spot. Brian's not going to have to take a stance on that. I guarantee you that one he's going to like slip and slide. There's going to be some of these that Brian's not going to be able to take a stance on. We're not going to know after listening to him talk for 20 minutes what his position is. He's caught between a rock and a hard spot. You saw Vellner's toast, huh, John? That's it. He's just gonna become a regular on this show now.
How old is he? 32.
He's probably gonna replace Taylor Self or something.
He'd probably get more views then.
Is Tia really the best CrossFitter of all time or the fittest in history? That really does need to be talked about a little bit, because it's between. Is it between her and Rich? You'd say
Matt.
Okay.
Her, Rich, and Matt, all three.
Okay. What if we can't? Okay, fine. Higher expectations. I don't even know why we're getting here. This is a great one too, but I don't think we'll ever make it down this far on the list. This will have to be a show too. Higher expectations for next year. Emma Carey coming out of Brute. Annika Greer coming out of who knows where. Maybe she'll go back to Underdogs Athletics now that Danielle the Bully Brandon's gone. And versus Olivia Kerstetter. Wow. Hey, those are 3 new names on the leaderboard. Next year is going to be fucked for the girls too. What a mess. There's going to be a lot of jockeying. And then a conversation that I've never heard talked about in depth, which really needs to be talked about. Who is the fittest in Europe? in 2023, Lazar Jukic or Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson. And we should probably do the women too. We should probably figure out who the fittest woman is in Europe too, because with
we know who it is.
we do?
Yeah.
Annie?
Oh, if she comes back to individual, still I think we know who it is.
Oh, you think it's Gabriela Magawa? That's your answer to everything in Europe?
No.
Who is it?
Laura Horvath.
Oh. Better than Annie?
Yeah.
Say so.
When is
I
Annie?
don't know what you say. She beat her last year, and she's 10 years younger.
Hey, listen. On the is she 10 years younger?
Maybe 8, 9.
Holy cow! How old is Laura?
24 or 5. I'm never
Oh,
sure because of how the CrossFit Games website does it, and I don't have a list of all their
It
birthdays.
says she's
around.
25, but
She's a fucking kid.
give or take a year. She's
No
gonna
wonder
be there
she.
for a long
No
time.
wonder when she's on the show, she's so intimidated by me and acts so weird. She's scared of me, shaking like a leaf. I need to take note of that. How young she is. I need to be nicer.
Mike Halpin. Yeah, I've drawn comparisons about Rich being the MJ of CrossFit years ago, but it was only from a branding perspective. In terms of basketball, he's way more like Bill Russell than anything else.
That's exactly what I told Mike Halpin as well, Brian. Like the
No way.
exact player. I said more like the Bill Russell. But
Yeah, and Fraser's like Wilt Chamberlain.
no,
Uh,
MJ all the way.
I'd also
Can't
like to
compare
throw.
a center and a guard.
Also like to throw this. There's a guy now in the 185-pound class in the UFC called Israel Adesanya, and he was saying that the reason why Michael Jordan is better than LeBron is because of his emotional appeal. And he says he wants to be that fighter too, that people become emotionally connected to, and that there's a greater emotional appeal to Jordan with the fans than LeBron. I'm not even sure what that means, but for some reason I'm kind of buying it. And I think that there's a far larger, greater emotional appeal to Rich than probably either Tia or Matt. Whatever the
Without
fuck
a doubt.
emotional
Without
appeal
a doubt.
means.
Yeah, people just like him more.
Yeah. But Sevan, he has less Instagram followers. Yeah, can't explain that, but I'm just telling you, I just think that people I think Rich has got a little something.
Should we get started?
Let's do it. What is better for the sport, parity or dominance? Can we look up the word parity? And when you say the sport, you're talking about CrossFit. Do we have to prove that it's a sport first?
What is better for CrossFit, the sport?
What's better for CrossFit, the sport, parity or dominance?
You want to go first or you want me to, Brian?
Do you want to look up that word, Sevan?
Yeah, here it comes. An imitation of style of a particular writer, artist, or genre with deliberate
I
exaggeration.
think
That's-
whoever wrote
that's
this
not it.
chose the wrong spelling of parody.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I had no idea there were two.
This should
different
be
spellings.
spelled Parity.
That was copy pasted from the list that was sent to me. So.
Hey! But there's no reason to just point fingers. No reason. Susan, no one's thinking out loud that it's your fault. The state or condition of being equal, especially regarding status or pay. Oh please, the woke
All
scenario.
right. So
This is the state of
parity.
equity, Sevan.
Parity just means that we don't know who's going to win before the event starts.
Okay, great. I'll take that definition.
Thank you, John.
It can be anybody's game of 3 to 5 people. It's not.
You go first.
Do we like it knowing going into the CrossFit Games that Tia is going to smash, or would we prefer that it was a closer race until the last minute?
Yeah. So and this is kind of a your own opinion question. There's not a lot of facts that can back this up. I enjoy parity way more than dominance. I think watching somebody like Tia or Matt crush an event is really cool. Like when Tia almost carried the yoke all the way down in one round in 2021. I think that stuff's awesome. But for one event, not the whole competition. And I don't think there's anything more fun than when you have Roman, Ricky, and Justin in the last day and you don't know who's going to win. And people pick their favorite. People root for Roman, people root for Ricky, and people root for Justin, and then they can all kind of battle it out and talk about it the whole entire weekend, and it makes the experience much more fun. I thought the men's race was awesome this year, and when you just know who's going to win, it kind of takes the sails out of the weekend. And I mean, you hope to see Tia or Matt or Rich do something that we've never seen before because they are the fittest people in history, but I don't think that's as fun as not knowing who's going to win until it happens.
He meant to say take the wind out of the sails. Just so you know, Brian, in case you got confused.
I really couldn't follow anything after that.
Okay. He likes to see he liked the tension of the men's race. I can't remember anything about the women's race. He kind of has a good point. I was on the side of I like a dominant champion, but now that I think about it, I can't really remember jack about the women's competition. I know Danielle Brandon took 4th and Tia won. I don't know the other two people. I don't know who took 2nd and 3rd.
Like Laura had a crazy comeback.
I know. Go ahead. Mal and Laura, but I don't know in what order. Mal?
That order.
Oh.
You know the order.
No, because of course, no matter how good the competition is or how not good it is, everyone's going to remember the winner. I think that there is, it's really difficult to argue with what John says. Like, it's more exciting and more dramatic if you're unsure who the winner is going to be. But I think that the best situation is often when there's like a dominant figure that's regularly being challenged and still finds a way to win. And in some ways, that's what you had with Rich, where it was like you kind of felt like he was always going to win, but you weren't sure after Friday. Saturday, it was starting to like, okay, he's back in the mix. And then Sunday, he did his thing, and then he'd win again. And for Justin this year, it was kind of like that too, where he wasn't the front runner and the leader throughout the competition, or even for half the competition. He took it late in the competition. He was still close on points, but he found a way to get it done in the end. Yes, Tia had to come from behind a little bit, but once she took the leader's jersey after event 5, no one thought she was ever going to relinquish it, and she didn't. And even coming into the competition, I mean, it was like, okay, we know Tia's going to win, and let's talk about everyone else. And that's just it's incredibly impressive what she's doing, of course, but it also takes any of the drama or excitement sort of out of it, unless you're a big fan of just seeing records being smashed and broken and set. And, this goes back to, you could draw parallels in a bunch of other sports. Were you a Tiger Woods fan? If you're a Tiger Woods fan during the 2000s, or a Roger Federer fan, during that similar time frame, you like dominance. You like guys that go out there and it's like, no one can beat this guy. It's incredible to watch him play. It's Tiger versus the field. It's Federer versus the field. It's Tia versus the field. And there's definitely a huge fan base that likes getting behind a champion and likes watching that champion continue to smash and break records. And even CrossFit now, who's contending and putting out there that Tia is the fittest of all time, you'd have to say that the media behind that is supportive of a dominant champion and wants to see that person extend what's possible and extend those records and lay set the new mark for the next person to chase.
Also, in the early days, it could still be this way, but we had so much access to the fucking athletes. So we knew what was going on. So if there was a dominant athlete like Rich, there were enough nuances that were revealed to us as fans and behind the scenes and shit like that you could still find a ton of value.
Who was doing that?
Matt and Tia are far less accessible than other champions.
They're just accessible in different ways. You
can buy their programming.
Yeah, well, okay.
Well, all I'm saying is I agree.
The whole landscape of the sport changed when the media department of CrossFit was disbanded, because it opened up the possibility for all this outside media, and then you have an opportunity for Proven to have its own media team. Right. And so you want to find the content about Tia, you have to go through their channel, which means that they're controlling the narrative much more than if the CrossFit media director from back in the day was telling this story the way that he wanted to.
Like if we knew Tia this year would have been a great year for us to see a lot of behind the scenes shit on Tia, because after day one,
we might.
Yeah. You mean from her documentary crew?
Yeah, we might. But like I said, they're going to be telling that story probably with some kind of an agenda.
Can I counter Brian's point real quick before we get off on something else?
Please.
So your argument is dominance, but like when you just barely win, but you somehow find a way to do it every time. Yeah.
I'm saying that's one way to be dominant. But later on, what I was saying is there are also people that love the records. They love the streaks. They love the winning by 300 points and saying, I don't think anyone will ever do that again. And they love the 6 in a row, and they love that. And they get behind that champion. And it's, And it is cool. And it's once, it's sometimes it's like, well, when will we ever see this again? And let's appreciate it while we have it.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay. I tend to kind of agree with you about your Rich point, where he was not always in the lead until Sunday, and then he always ended up winning. But when I think of dominance, like, yes, his career was dominant, but like those games weren't dominant. You know what I mean? So when I'm thinking of dominance, I'm like, nobody thinks that you can lose anything. And like, we have that with Tia, we have that with Matt, and Rich would lose stuff all the time in individual. I would argue his team stuff is dominant. But like, your definition of dominance is not the definition that I would call dominance. I would almost say his willpower or his heart, or, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. And then I don't think Rich is questioned. You know what I mean?
Say no, Brian.
Yeah, we'll get to that when we talk
like
about
will
it.
to win is different than dominance. Dominance is you're so far ahead, you don't have to work hard to win. Like, how many events have we gotten from Matt or Tia where they could just kind of coast once they got ahead of everybody in a workout, and they still win because they're that much fitter? That's why
Tia significantly more dominant than Matt?
Well, we'll get to that question later. But like, when Matt did Friendly Fran in the qualifier and beat everybody by a minute, we don't see Matt go that hard almost ever because he doesn't have to. That's how dominant he is. Where Rich always had to try hard to win. He did win every time, and I would argue that is the most fun to watch whenever you have a guy that always ends up coming out on top, but sometimes the deck is stacked against him.
You're checking out your own head now.
I'm just. What's he think about it? He just thinks it's huge. Is that?
I got a big forehead. I do have a receding hairline. I'm gonna have to go bald eventually. It's coming, but
he's all juiced up.
Yeah, I don't really get that either.
Hey, Jeff, none of your comments matter. Go to your room.
Is Jeff a guy that you paid to be in the comments?
I don't know, but I hope he falls in love with John Young. John needs a dude like that who's just fucking shit up, and this guy's just fucking shit up in the comments.
But I wouldn't consider that dominant though. You know what I mean? It's more of a will to win, and he always does it, than dominance. Like, is Rocky Balboa dominant? No, he just always found a way to win. I know it's a bad analogy, but you get what I'm saying.
No, I like that. I still would think. I still think it though. It's crazy to say that Rich wasn't dominant
in his individual.
Yeah,
I mean, and for a career, he is. I mean, you do it 4 times in a row, you are dominant,
right?
But like, if every individual competition, he wasn't.
Right.
You might could argue 1 year he was when he won by 100 points. He only won by 100 points one time.
So both of you agree. Both of you want to lean on the side of parity over dominance. You think that's better for the sport. That's what
I'd say from an entertainment.
But what's
value.
better for the sport? Better being makes more money and gets more people in the seats, right?
From an entertainment value, yeah, the parity is probably more fun to watch for more people. It's not, it's not necessarily that fun to tune in and say, oh, this person's just going to crush everyone again. But I think there are people that like watching that. And I think that also from a historical perspective and studying the sport and setting a standard for people to chase in future generations, that it's important to have those baselines of what's possible. And like, what John's saying about the margin of victory that Rich had, which is relatively small compared to some of the years that Fraser was winning and some of the years that Tia had won or has won. It's definitely true, but it was, I think, just a different mindset. Rich had one objective, which was to win the games, and he found a way to do it. Fraser had a different objective, and that was to win everything. Like, he hated getting second in a single event. Rich didn't mind that if at the end of the weekend he was still on the top of the podium.
What did Matt say? He wanted 3 podium spots in that 1 year at the game, but he only got 2.
He wanted to be better than 3rd and 2nd combined.
Yeah.
And I also think that's why people like Rich more and like Rich so much.
And I'm saying there's a group of people that like Matt more, that want to see that killer mindset.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I prefer dominance. You guys
talking
both
about sports here.
And I prefer dominance, and I think it's better for the sport. I do think it's weird that it just keeps happening, that there's a dominant man and dominant woman simultaneously. Back in the day, after Rich was done, everyone's like, there'll never be another Rich, and now it's just like it seems like there's always going to be one.
Well, that leads us into our second question really well.
But I want to hear what you guys think. So on this side, both of you agree that parity with the T.
I think it's more fun to watch.
But the question was what's better for the sport? What's better for the sport?
I mean, you're not gonna like this answer, but probably a combination.
Jeez Louise.
Because as far as like selling stuff and getting,
I don't know, Sevan. Tell me this. Next year, if Tia decides to compete, how excited are you for that relative to if she doesn't?
I'm excited.
That's a great question.
I'm more excited for her to compete. The year after a dominant champion leaves kind of sucks because you kind of have to write that off. Like Medeiros' first win, that's what's so hard. You have to write that off as just like it's a fluke because Matt's not there. It's only this second, because he was so dominant when you come in, this second year, you're finally like, okay. And I talked about that with, I think, Medeiros, like, and we talked about it with Nicky Rod. Do you have to kill the champion to get their soul? Like, I think if Medeiros would have beat Fraser, or if Mal beats Tia, they put on, for lack of a better metric, an extra 200,000. They'd steal their Instagram followers. They don't really, but you know what I mean? They get an influx like, oh shit, they beat the best.
Let me make
That's another reason why Jordan's better than LeBron. Jordan didn't lose. We've seen LeBron's human.
Jordan never lost in the finals.
Jordan won with
a lot
the
of
flu.
times before he got to the finals.
You know what I mean?
And there's this, there's other things. So there's a guy in disc golf right now. The world championship.
By the way, I'm not in this debate.
Yeah, you are. You're here.
Oh.
The disc golf world championships are happening right now, and there's this player Paul Macbeth, and every year since 2012, he's finished first or second. He's won 5 times. He's gotten second 4 times, and 1 year they had to cancel the event because of COVID. And right now he's in second place going into the final round of the competition. He's 3 strokes behind this guy who's never won anything significant. And if that guy wins the competition, I don't feel like he stole his soul or his Instagram followers, because this guy's never done anything substantial. And the other guy for 10 years has placed first or second in the event. Like, you can always have someone in disc golf who comes up and has this incredible weekend and beats the entire field, but then they might not have another significant result the whole year. CrossFit is different. Like, if you're going to be good once, you're probably going to be good again, and you're probably going to be good again, because it's really, really hard and demanding to contend with that top person. And I agree. I do agree with you that if someone like Mal beats Tia, or if someone like Justin beats Matt, that it's substantial and significant. But one of two things. Well, one of two things, like, can they do it? If they do it once, can they do it again? That's why last year, to me, Rogue was so significant for Medeiros. It's like, yeah, you beat Vellner at the games, and it was kind of close. Vellner made a bunch of mistakes. But then we went to Rogue, and he did it again. And then we went to the games this year, and it wasn't Vellner this time. It was Roman, and it was Ricky, and they were making not big mistakes, just small ones here and there, and this guy didn't. And that, to me, is like, that's the thing that I really, really enjoy watching, is when Medeiros goes out there, and even if you're rooting against him, as long as you can appreciate the fact that he's capitalizing on every performance and maximizing his potential every time he takes the floor, it's not dominant on the scoreboard, but it's dominance in terms of execution and performance over an entire year now with several competitors in several different competitions. And that's something that I can appreciate.
No, he's literally the 5th best in the world at everything.
Who? Medeiros?
Like, there is nothing in fitness that he's not just the 5th best in the world.
Right, but the top 4 guys that are beating him on the swimming workout can't beat him on the running workout, and the guys that beat him on the running workout can't beat him on the lifting workout, and you just go around.
And I've never seen it like as expanded as it is for him. Like, if we're not counting Matt, it's literally everything. I thought he was in trouble in the sandbag, and he somehow,
me too,
still got around 5th. Like, He's amazingly consistent.
Souza, a couple things. Can you graph after the show's over? Can you graph the viewership from when Brian started talking about Ultimate Frisbee and to where he ended, and graph the numbers and see what that did to the show? Yeah, and then bring that. Send that around, please.
I know you're going to be watching the final round later today.
What time is it at?
2:30,
At what station?
12:30 Pacific. I'd probably be live on Disc Golf Network and YouTube.
Okay, send me a link. I will actually watch that. And one more thing, Susan.
You don't watch frisbee golf over college football?
No, I'm gonna watch UFC actually. No, college football. The fuck this is 1997? Where do you live, in the middle of the country? Susan, are you gonna get Keelan Henry on and the world's greatest racquetball player, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a WhatsApp.
Do you want the world's greatest pickleball player? They're actually in town, like 2 miles this way from me.
Yes,
and it's a guy
yes.
that went to a college with my brother.
John Bones or something. John
No,
Bronze.
it's a different sport. Pickleball, I'm talking about.
I know. We talked about yesterday about getting the greatest pickleball player on, didn't we, Souza?
What was his name? I don't know.
What's his name? We looked it up yesterday.
It's Zane something or other.
Okay, we'll get him too.
Okay.
Hey, none of the fucking frisbee guys will come on the show. I don't know what's wrong with them.
I know.
Let's go to our next question because we're gonna be on here for 3 hours if we don't.
No. I have to go to tennis and jiu-jitsu soon. Will Mal O'Brien, formerly with Elijah Muhammad, then with James Townsend, now with Matt Fraser. Will that Mal O'Brien, the kid who doesn't know, who can't talk, she's also deaf mute. Will she be the next Tia Toomey? Almost arguably the greatest CrossFitter who ever lived, without a doubt. Not even arguable, without a doubt.
You go first, Brian.
But the caveat here is when Tia is gone. We don't even know if Tia is gone. Who wrote that question?
I mean, look, if Tia said I'm coming back next year, then we might have rephrased this question to say, can Mal beat Tia in 2023? The whole thing with Tia and for next season is frustrating to me, and it's whatever. So instead, we're going to ask this. When Tia retires or steps aside, can Mal have a dominant career for a period of time that rivals Tia's? And I think
meaning 3 to 5 championships
in a row. Can she win 3 to 5 in a row? I think that's a fair way.
Nobody can beat her. Yeah.
And I think the answer to that is yes. I think she has the potential to do that. And in order to, when I was like just kind of going back and looking at what are the criteria that you would need to have to be able to do something like that, I looked at, this is Mal's second year competing at the games. I think that the women's field, both of these years, has been a little bit depleted relative to what it could be on a global scale, where we're just missing some of the top 20 women in the world for a variety of different reasons. But either way, to finish 7th in your rookie year is impressive. The women that she had to surpass to finish 2nd this year, and it was like you said, Sevan, it was almost a lackadaisical 2nd. Like she just finished 2nd, and it was kind of casual. She was behind Haley early on and Emma Lawson, but she passed by both of them, and then Tia passed her by. But from the rest of the weekend on, no one ever overtook her for 2nd place. So as much of a lock as Tia was from event 5 on in 1st place, once Mal got into 2nd place, also no one caught her. And all the people that were close rescinded, and Laura made a charge at the end, which was expected if you knew the programming, but it wasn't enough to catch her. And so I looked at Mal's results this year relative to Tia's results in her 2nd year at the games, which was 2016. And in that year, Tia finished 2nd to catch her, and it was pretty close. And her average event finish was 8.2, and I would say that she had 3 below average finishes. Those finishes were in Murph, double DT, and the handstand walk.
Who was that?
Tia in 2016. These finishes were all in the range of 17th to 22nd, and they were her 3 worst finishes that year. She did have a 13th and a 2 13ths, and everything else was inside the top 10. So I looked at Mal's performances this year, and there's some differences because there are always differences when you're talking about these things due to the changing cut system. So you might have like a 12th place finish on the last day that's actually 12th out of 20 instead of 12th out of 40, which is substantially different. So you have to weight a little differently. But either way, Mal's kind of worst event finishes this year were on events that I'm not too worried about earlier in her career. Oh, and by the way, she averaged 8.9 to Tia's 8.2 was her event finishes in her 2nd year, and she obviously lost to Tia. And I would also say that you have to account for the fact that as we go on in the sport, there's more and more relevant athletes in the field. So I think that this is a fairly similar performance in her second season there. And obviously we know what Tia went on to do. The reason why and so the stats are one thing, but the main reason why I think Mal has the potential to do this is because of the areas that she's shown she can improve rather quickly. And it's something that Fraser was able to do. He would be exposed on something. He would come back and he would expose the field to the fact that he's now that's not a problem for him. Tia was able to do this as well. If you look at like an event like Double DT, where until this skill speed medley, that was the last really bad event that she'd had in her career, where she finished 22nd. I'm pretty confident if you rolled out Double DT from 2018 onward, maybe even in 2017, but I don't know. Still, she only won by a couple points a year. There were a lot of really good women in the field, but from 2018 onward, she's going to win Double DT, in my opinion. So she's able to eradicate these mistakes. Really, the two outstanding bad performances for Mal this year at the games were in the sandbag ladder and the alpaca event, both of which were basically just testing strength in a slightly different way. And you can look at the results of the alpaca and see how weight was such a critical factor in that workout. Tia, Emma Lawson, Haley Adams, all of the girls that are a little bit smaller didn't do great on it with the way that it ended up being. And the sandbag ladder is something that I'm not that concerned about an 18-year-old girl finishing 24th on at this stage in her career. I feel like she has an opportunity to improve in that regard. What I did like from her in a strength event was the back nine. And even though she finished 12th in it, which was one of her bottom 5 performances, it didn't stop her in the tracks that it did some of these other girls that also sometimes struggle with the strength events. And I think that Mal has the capacity and ability, based on what I've seen from her, to improve in the strength events in a way that Tia improved in some of those things after her second season. And she's already, look at this. I know she didn't win any events this year, but 6th, 3rd, 4th, 3rd, 9th, 2nd, 9th, 2nd, 3rd. Those are all really, really impressive events, reminiscent of Medeiros, like John's talking about with him, where he might not be winning anything, but he's just there. And on all these varieties of events, even when they're long, even when they're short, even when they're high power output, even when there's a nuance of a skill, she seems to be good enough to put up a solid enough performance. And that's what you need. The next step for her is, cross off 1 or 2 of those boxes of the things that are a little bit problematic and find a way to win 1 or 2 events. And I'm pretty confident she's going to be able to do that in the next year or 2. And I think she has a chance to go on a run of at least 3 in a row.
Mal.
Yeah.
Why only 3 in a row?
I said at least 3 in a row.
Okay.
And it's like, because there's always a chance that someone else could come up, right? And that's,
right.
And we already see that there are people like Emma Lawson, who's finished 6th in a rookie year. We don't know what Olivia Kerstetter is going to do. Is Emma Carey beat Mal at the games the last time there was a teenage division? Does she have the potential to come back and do that? Can Laura get better? Can Haley get better? Can Gabby get better? There's plenty of women that are in a realistic stage in their career that are still going to be there threatening her. But based on what I saw this year, compared to all of those women, she has less holes, and she's proven to me that she has a greater capacity to shore up those holes than a lot of the other women that she'll have to likely fend off.
Hold on, Mr. Young. Hold on. Mr. Olson, thank you. As always, thank you. Hope you have a fabulous weekend. Hope you're going to spend a lot of time with your kids. Martin Graham, the best CF analysis shows in history. When I imagine Martin when Brian was going off, just to be like, and then just jump up and start pumping his fist and then fucking run over to his keyboard and drop a 20. I appreciate it. That's kind of how I visualize. You're a good dude. Jeff, I love John Young's head. I'm his favorite. I'm his #1 fan. Really quick, John, before you go, I know you're ready to get shot out of a cannon here. Brian, so you're saying, yes, everything seems to be lined up outside of for Tia to be for Mal to be the next great. I do think that the women's competition, the greatest women and fittest women in the world are still ahead of us. I do think that. But is that what you're saying? You're saying yes, Mal is the next Tia?
I'm saying yes, she has the chance to be. I think she could be.
She's kind of pregnant. Not really. She could get pregnant.
Well, I was going to say something, but I already said everything I was going to say. Yeah, that's what I think.
Shit, like it's a little wishy-washy, I think. Jan Clark. Mal has the same number of holes as other women. I don't know.
I'm going to go ahead and go. Okay, Sevan?
Okay, please go ahead.
Unless
someone gives more money, you can speak.
Your argument is that she showed that she can shore up her holes better than other women. If we're talking about Laura Horvath and handstand push-ups, I completely agree. Other than that, I don't think she's shoring up her hole. She made a huge jump in fitness. She did, and it surprised me. And I think she is the woman to beat as far as next year go if Tia doesn't compete. But if that handstand push-up workout was not there, Laura would have beaten Mal. She took a 0 on that workout. Okay, if that workout is anything else and she gets 10th place, which is 70 points, she would be ahead of Mal.
It was also Mal's worst workout, or third worst workout of the weekend.
Okay, cool. But you take
Wow, just so you know, John Young's making up a really good point here. I have to show you this on the leaderboard. Holy shit, this is fucking crazy.
You take
Laura Horvath took 39th.
No, a 0. And listen, there might be still handstand push-up workouts, but if it's not that deficit that she just can't do, she's not going to be 39th and take 0 points. And Mal's holes have always been that she's not the best sprinter and she's not the strongest. Now, if you're telling me that she can put 50 pounds on her back squat the way Tia made that huge jump, then sure, she can be the next Tia. But I'm saying Tia was a baby in her second competition. She was not her full potential at all.
Susan, if we had a good show, you'd push a button and we'd hear like a crying sound effect right there. When he called Tia baby, you hear wah, wah. Go on, John.
Not that type of baby. I'm talking about young to CrossFit as far as years go.
Yeah, I know, but it still
Mal
be effective.
has been doing CrossFit since she was 12 years old. She's a veteran as far as body mileage, as far as training in CrossFit.
Yeah, but how much had her body changed during those 6 years? She's just getting used to it.
I don't think it's going to change much more, though. She's still the tiniest girl out there. If anybody went to the games, she's the tiniest girl out there. The sandbag, she got, 24th? I don't see her magically getting first place, which is what Tia did. Like when Tia is first place in the strength events and first place in the running events, Mal is never going to be first place in those events. She's not going to shore up the holes that much where she is just dominating the field, this is what we're talking about. Her being the next Tia Toomey. Not that she can't win. I think she's the woman to beat as far as winning goes. But Laura, Laura had the worst start she ever had, okay? And then she comes back in the back 9 and gets 3rd, 9th, 3rd, 1st, 4th. And the events that Laura is destroying people at, she will continue to destroy people at. And if Mal starts winning strength events and winning running events, then my tune will completely change. But as far as shoring up your holes, Mal still has a lot of work to do if we're talking about Tia Toomey. You know, I'm not saying she can't be the fittest woman in the world. She definitely can. But Tia Toomey,
so John, are you saying
she win 3 in a row, or is she going to win 3 in a row by 200 plus points? Is a different question.
Yeah,
right.
I don't think she's Medeiros though. I don't think she's as consistent as Medeiros. Medeiros has always been even keel across the way. He would get 9th in everything before he was getting first place. If you go back and look at his filthy 150 in 2019, he was just the same. He's the same across the board his whole entire CrossFit career. Mal has holes that she has to fill.
It's difficult to talk about Medeiros in that way. I was there for Filthy 150. I saw him. I know how impressive that was. But I saw him the 2 years before at regionals, and he wasn't that good yet. He was still coming along. He still had things to figure out. 2020 games is unfortunate because he only did that live event against 5 people, so it's hard to say how good or bad those performances would have been. And yes, the last 2 years he's been very consistent. What I'm saying is that Mal's performances this year at the games demonstrate an incredible level of consistency and a diversity across a lot of events. And you say that she's terrible on these running events. I mean, she was 9th in the Capitol. That's extremely respectable. Yeah, she did bad on the shuttle to overhead sprint workout. The fact that she was able to back that up with a 3rd on the lifting event was still extremely impressive to me. And I'd rather have someone who can lift heavy tired than someone who can just run fast. And I'm not dissuaded by any of the things that you've said from what my position is.
Okay, my point is she will never beat Laura at the events that Laura is beating her at. And Laura can beat her in events that she beat her at and during the games, like similar events, other than handstand push-ups. Obviously, if that comes up, Mal's probably going to win. And what I think is going to happen is Mal could win one year, and then Laura could win one year. And, freaking Emma Lawson's still coming. We don't know what Olivia Kerstetter is. I think it's going to look like what the men's field looks like now. Okay? As far as
everyone
parity
chasing
goes.
Mal, but she just keeps winning.
Jamal Smith,
twice.
please.
Before we say he keeps winning, he was back to back. It's not like he's doing it year after year after year after year.
Mr. Smith, please weigh in.
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I would add to this conversation is
The
Matt
biggest
Fraser
thing you'd
has-
add, you know what the biggest thing I'd add to this conversation? I'll tell you after you go. Go ahead.
But Matt Fraser has consistently said that they're playing the long game, where you have multiple athletes peaking for the CrossFit Games for this year. He's making sure that Mal O'Brien is peaking for 2 years from now. Throughout the whole season, he's said that, at the quarterfinals, he's been pulling back the reins, not letting her go all in. And I feel like as soon as Matt feels that she's 110% and ready, you will get that dominant performance like Tia has shown.
Great argument. Thank you, Mr. Smith. Always the best contributor to the show. I'm going to give you best contributor to the show 2000. I'm going to give you the old one, 2021, even though it's 2000.
Okay. And my argument to that is if Matt magically puts 50 pounds on Mal's lifts and 30 seconds to her mile time and magically makes her sprint faster, way faster, because she's way behind as far as the top girls go, like that's not peaking. That's who you are. Okay. And she's peaking for the games, whether you think she is or not. They're not overtraining. She's going to take a deload after the games, just how he did. He just thinks her best self is not.
Matt used to take a deload after the games.
Matt wouldn't work out to the open. His deloads are crazy.
To fund John's future haircut.
Are y'all saying I should shave my head?
He's never getting it. Hey, I want to say this what Brian did. It makes it so apropos what I mentioned about the trees earlier in Scotland. You were using apples as the metric that she took as 0, and then Brian started using oranges as the metrics to shore up his argument, saying it was her third worst event because she took a 15th. But she still did. Brian's like those tricky fact checkers at Facebook. She still took 15th, and Laura took a 39th. So
yeah, but you can't just you can't
what?
Like recognize that you take out it's also from both men. And we
Brian, you turned into a robot. Brian, we can't hear you. Turned into a robot.
His mic is like Mal's abilities. There's still a lot of holes to fill there.
Yeah, something's wrong. Your internet connections is about as good as Mal's CrossFit game. Hello, testing. Maybe you have to log off and log back in.
And for the record, I think she's going to win next year if Tia does not compete. But
I love how chill Souza and Caleb are. They don't even give a fuck. The show's falling apart. We lost someone. They're just like, all right. Fine.
Didn't you mean to jump in and start the argument here? You can't make the
Nothing
argument.
like any other show.
Do you want to move to the next question until you jump?
No. I think that there's
Here he
still. I think there is some. There is. Oh man, look at that connection. That's not a good sign. Did you see the spin wheel Brian had? It's not a good sign. Someone on the building, just in Brian's building, turned on their blender and his fucking internet's gone to shit.
Any better?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
you're
a
wait.
little bit
Yeah,
better.
you're back. You're back.
So let me say the question one more time. Will Mal be the next Tia when Tia is gone? And Brian thinks that yes, it's looking that way, and John Young says no. She's just never going to be that dominant. There's just too big of holes. And Jamal Smith weighed in and kind of leaned on Brian's side and said, no, those holes are filling up nicely. You're not looking at the long game.
Like the alpaca was one of her worst events, right, Brian?
Yep, second worst.
Yeah, it will never be one of her best. It will always be about like that. It might be better, but 18th will be 11th at best. Because she will never be able to overtake people like Horvath or Barnhart.
You don't have if 11th is your worst workout in the games, then you're Tia Claire Toomey.
No.
Yes. Tia has never had a year where she's finished inside the top 10 on every workout. She's had these 11th, these 14th, these whatevers. You can have workouts like that. She's so good.
I'm saying those are not Mal's workouts. Mal you can pin her in for not having a great workout in these type of events. And then there's going to be weird events that she just doesn't do as good. Like Tia has weird event, like the skill medley. We didn't expect that from Tia. There will always be events like that. That was not a problem with
Tia. That was a problem with the event.
I know. I'm just saying weird events where they just don't do very well.
And this is, Sevan, this is the last thing I'll say about it. If Fraser and Mal ever hear this conversation, the confidence in my position is amplified tenfold.
100%. 100%. If anything, I'm creating a monster by not believing in her.
By the way, to John's point about, he's basically arguing that Laura Horvath is the reason that Mal will not be the next Tia. They were 7-7 this year at the games, 7-7 on workouts head to head, and some of them were very close. But Laura's been competing at the games since 2018. This is Mal's second year, and she's only 18 years old. I do not think we're looking at the next Haley Adams here that's never going to be able to make improvements in her strength. I think Mal will continue to get stronger. It's not going to be 50 pounds in a year. This goes to Mr. Smith's point about Fraser. He's not in a rush to put 50 pounds on her back squat. But over the next 3 years, she will get that much stronger, and she will be that much more difficult to beat at the games. And I think that she is exactly the type of athlete that can reel off multiple consecutive CrossFit Games titles.
This is good. I can tell this show is going to exacerbate Brian's allergies. Do you have an inhaler there? Yeah, there you go. I want to say this. This was interesting to hear Brian say this. It's not the problem with Tia. It's the problem with the workout. The skill speed medley. The skill speed medley, is that I know that's not one of the questions here, but is that the worst workout of the CrossFit Games this year? Is that one just?
Oh, that was one of my favorite workouts.
I would say definitely it was the worst.
For those of you who don't know, that was the one that had all the new shit. Like you had to climb the pegboard without your feet. It had
to be great.
It had the crossover with the jump ropes. It had the starting position.
Why was it not great?
So they had the starting position on the parallettes with in the what they called the low position. It was a fucking disaster. But it was but here in that regard, a great parallel here. The fact that workout was such a disaster, the fact that Nick Matthew did it, and we got to see Adrian kind of get a little bit of redemption, and Nick Matthew explode onto the scene. That's why it's kind of fun having like someone like Tia in there, because if Mal does beat her next year, holy shit.
And if Mal were to beat Tia ever, which I never see happening, if she does beat Tia, I'll completely switch my tune and be like, yeah.
You know what would have been cool in that speed skill medley is if they let every athlete do all 3 iterations of it, and your score was your total time or reps. So we could actually see.
I don't know. I like the execution factor. Yes, you shouldn't. You should never miss a single under.
That is not true, John.
You could do that event, Brian, and you would have beaten people who missed in the single.
Maybe I miss a single under because it just happens.
I want to say this, and then I do want to talk about the
capacity to do a strict pegboard, and I never get to do it, or I have the capacity to cross over double unders, and I never get to do it because I made one trip on a single under. It's not a reflection of my fitness.
I don't know. I think.
But Brian, what about the fact that there's 15? What about the fact that there's 15 workouts? Then it's okay to test that kind of. I don't know what that is. Precision.
There are ways to test precision and accuracy. Yes. Mm-hmm. The thing is, like, if you program a workout and you say you have to have an unbroken set of wall balls, then you can allow for the fact and say if you miss one, it doesn't mean that your set is over. You can keep going. It's just a no rep. And then you can still get an unbroken set where you were able to demonstrate your fitness to do the set unbroken. It wasn't a
holy shit. What? That's a great comparison. What do you think about that, John? What if someone said, "Hey, you have to do 50 wall balls, and if you miss the target, you have to start over again"? Would you be okay with that?
I'd be fine, but I'd be fine with the single unders as well. If you asked Tia if she thought that event was bad, I bet she would say no. Like, honestly. But not being on camera, I think she would say, no, I should have just done 75 single unders unbroken. That's me.
Well, she has to say that. If she's a good
No.
champion.
If you asked her in jest, honestly, if Shane asked her that question, I think she would be like, no, I can do 75 single unders. That's my bad.
Well,
Like
we know
Tudor
she can do 75.
Tudor Magda, who tripped over and over and over, and was one of the most tragic things in the world because he's one of the best handstand walkers there is, wasn't able to do it because he couldn't do 75 single unders. I think there's value in exploring that. Like, execution should be part of the games. It should not be like the last event, but exactly where it was, I have no problem with it. If it was a seven event competition like Rogue, I think execution shouldn't be a part of it, or not to that extent, because 7 events, you can be skewed so hard by one event. But the games is not like that. There's 15 events. Execute to your fullest. I have no problem with it.
Hey, does Danny Spiegel have she doesn't have an OnlyFans page, right? She has like the Instagram equivalent to it, like a subscription to like an Instagram something.
I bet people are paying her on Instagram.
I know. I think she does. Hey, this guy, Jeff, just gave me a great idea. He said by far the best moment of the CrossFit Games was when Danny Spiegel hoisted the bag. I bet you for like $5,000, dudes would pay her just to like hoist them up on her shoulder and like carry her 10 feet and throw them on like a mattress on the ground. $5,000. Jamal Smith, this is fucking, it's crazy when people say shit like this because it puts everything in perspective. Mal is only 18 and could easily have 12 plus years in the sport. Given that time frame, 50 pounds is easily attainable. I can't believe she's 18. I think Brian's right, John.
Well, yeah, I mean, we'll see.
Hey, I don't think Tia should quit. I think she should keep going till she gets beat. I don't think it's cool when champions leave unbeaten. I don't think any more of Mayweather because he's 50-0. Fuck him.
I mean, it's a grind. It's hard to put your body through that year.
That part I agree with, but I don't think you should leave like, oh, I got to keep my zero. Fuck you. Give back to the sport. Let someone hammer your ass.
And like Matt said and like Rich said before, like it's a selfish existence because everything goes to being the fittest person in the world. When you're that good, everything goes to that. So like, I completely get it when they want to retire.
Hey, you know there's 10 people out there wearing Be-Friendly shirts right now that are texting Brian being like, fuck John, tell him this. Fuck John, like Halpin and Schroeder and all the whole dork squad's getting on, sending Brian intel. Tell us, Brian. They all right?
All my notifications are on Do Not Disturb.
Hey, do you ever call Brian, John?
Do I ever call him?
Yeah.
No, I text him every now and again.
You have to call him in couplets. Every time you call Brian or text Brian, whenever I text Brian, it says, do you want it to ring? He has this thing off. I'm like, fuck yeah, I want it to ring. Like I fucking text him, bug his ass.
He always responds immediately to me.
No, not to me. And then when I call him, it always goes to voicemail, and I know he has his phone like set to that setting, so I always just call right back, and then it pushes through. You know, like it's like it breaks the hymen, and then I'm in there. So fucking.
He does.
And then he goes, "What?" And then he'll text me back, "What's so important?" I'm like, "I just want to talk to you. I just want to hear your voice."
That's probably
so important. I called you. Like I don't know.
He does send cryptic text though. You ask him some detailed question that I need like a lot of details, right? That requires a paragraph of a statement back, and he just sends yes or no, and like with nothing to explain it at all, and that's frustrating. But other than that, he responds to me pretty quickly.
I do like it when he does this though. It makes me feel like I'm on the A team. If he's busy, he will answer and then just tell me he's busy, as opposed to just keep sending me a voicemail. I'll be like, I'm teaching. I'm like, oh, click. So at least I get that. Okay. So will Mal be the next Tia to me when Tia is gone or when Tia is there? Brian, you say yes. John, you say no.
Mm-hmm.
That was great. I liked that topic. Both sides were very well articulated, and both sides could happen.
It'll be fun to see like what happens later on. I know we're just doing this as a show, but I'm excited to see who's right and wrong.
Hey, is this true? Barnhart is going to Proven. Is that true?
I have no idea.
Can someone pull up her IG and see? Okay. Number 3. I suspect this is we will not make it. And just so you know, number 5 is fucking incredible. No, number they're all incredible. We still have, is Tia the best CrossFitter in history, or is it Rich or Matt or someone else, or is it Greg Glassman? Higher expectations for next year: Emma Carey, Annika Greer, or Olivia Kerstetter. It's also amazing. And then who's the fittest in Europe? I don't think we'll get to any of those. But what we do have,
if we don't get to him this time, we'll bring it. We'll come back next time.
Yeah. This one, well, I only have 20 more minutes, but this question is great. You guys are lucky, those of you who made it this far in the show. This is great just because it's Brian. Man, this is going to be good. Hey, this is in order. If Brian were to dabble, if Brian wanted to explore his bisexuality, this is who he would do it with in this order. Patrick Vellner, Fikowski, and Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson. These are like, maybe you switch Fikowski and Bjorgvin. But man, Brian loves these guys. This is like a mean question. Who came up with this?
This is Brian's question.
Man, he hates himself. He's a masochist.
Wait, was this my question or was this your question?
It was yours.
Oh, it was my question.
Oh, you hate Brian. That makes more sense. Can Patrick Vellner, guys, listen to this. It's a changing of the guards when you organize it like this. And what's crazy is the guys they're switching out with or 2 of them are done too. They're old. Men's division's about to get crazy.
No, they're not.
Dude, come on. Ricky's toast. Ricky's got one more year in him.
He's like 27.
He's going to get injured at the next game. Sorry, Ricky. I love him, but he'll be a regular on the show soon, too. Can Patrick Vellner, Brent Fikowski, or Bjorgvin Carl Gudmundsson ever beat Justin Roman or Ricky ever again? I don't know who went first last time. I think it was John. No, Brian went first. He gave us a huge monologue. You go ahead, John.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm going to say yes. I don't, as far as who wins the CrossFit Games, I don't think Vellner, Fikowski, or BKG ever win the CrossFit Games. I do think they can mix between Justin, Roman, and Ricky. I think there will be, of those 6 guys, I wouldn't be surprised if next year and the year after that, it's just a combination of all of them. I don't think those 3 always beat the first 3. I do think Justin and Roman are a tier ahead of everybody else, though. I think it's between Justin and Roman as far as who wins the next CrossFit Games, and I seriously think Roman could beat Justin. I don't think Justin is dominant, but obviously Justin is amazing at being consistent, so he's always going to be there. After that, I think it's just depending on the events. Ricky got a lot of events he could crush this year, and he did. So between Ricky, Vellner, Fikowski, and BKG, I think they could all just be a mix with those 2. I think Justin and Roman are in a tier of their own, though.
2 things I want to 2 things that I will come back and bring up is John mentioned the events this year at the game, so that is an interesting point. Could the programming really mix these guys up? And I hate that discussion, but I guess it has to be had. And the second thing that I'd like both of you to address is this was Roman's first year, and now he has experience at the games. And how important is that going to be? Ricky, everyone else on that list has already been to the games and had that experience. Brian, go ahead.
As far as winning the CrossFit Games or beating these guys at the games, I thought 2 years ago was Vellner's best chance to win and Fikowski's best chance to win in 2021, and I didn't do it.
That was Matt's first year gone, is what you're saying?
Yeah, and Justin's first win.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Brian sounds like he's doing a eulogy. This kind of hurts.
Coming into this year, I thought the same. I thought it was Vellner's last chance to win. I thought it was Fikowski's last chance to win. I was more confident in Vellner having a chance to compete for the title this year than Brent. Obviously, I ranked him second. I think I ranked Brent 4th or 5th coming into the games. And I had Justin first and Roman third, and I was way off the mark on Ricky. I didn't know that he would be as good as he was this season. I think it's over for these guys relative to beating Justin and Roman for sure, and possibly Ricky as well. Ricky's not that much. He's 28. Roman's 27, if you guys are wondering. At least that's what the game site has him listed as. And BKG is not really that much older than them. He's 29. So I think that there's I don't know. I would say Justin, Roman, and Ricky are those are the guys now. And I think that it's over for Brent and BKG relative to beating them at the games.
And see, I think there's a huge battle for third. And Roman and Justin are just ahead of everybody else. But I think that third place is up for grabs between those three, Ricky. I mean, maybe Sam Quant. He's the most inconsistent person ever. He's either amazing or terrible.
26 years old. 26 years old. Sam
and
Quant.
freaking Adler has improved every single year. As
Old as dirt. Had his best year ever. Done. Toast.
And Lazar
28.
and Hopper are all coming as well. Like, they're all getting better. Lazar and Hopper both. So, I mean, I don't know if they can jump into that next tier, but they are getting better. I think third is a huge battle between like 6 guys. And then I think Roman and Justin are just ahead of everybody else. I think there's a gap after that.
Cole and Noah, 31. So
I will be curious to see.
The door's going to open for Jason Hopper, man. The door is about to open for this dude. That dude's going on the podium next year.
I think
I'll be curious to see. I'll be curious to see what happens at Rogue this year.
I will too. Yeah.
In some regards, Roman needs to prove to me the way that Justin did last year that he can repeat this effort against this caliber of field. I didn't see anything at the games that makes me think he can't do that. But finishing 5th at Rogue is not good enough for Roman if this is what if he wants to be the best in the sport. Again, we have no reason not to think that Justin won't win there, but if someone beats him, that would be significant. But more so for Vellner, I think he's already said that he's going to go there, and if he can podium at Rogue, if all the guys actually show up and he podiums at Rogue, then I might give him a chance to podium next year at the games. But right now, I don't know. I think these guys are just, it's hard. Like, at some point, age will catch up to everyone. I'm not saying that he's old. I'm not saying that he's bad. He's still very good. He had some.
He's just not getting better.
He's not getting better, and he continues to do the same thing that he's always done, which is have these blunders in the competition that these other guys are not having as many or as significant of. So I would lean towards the younger group here.
Hey, dude.
Did I surprise you, Sevan? You said I would not have a definitive answer on this.
Yeah. That was your most definitive answer. I'm shocked. I'm almost sad. It almost broke my heart. I want to show you something here. It's pretty fucking harsh, but fuck it. Let's do it. Here's the deal. Justin's going to stay at the top, and Roman and Ricky and Samuel Quant and Jeffrey Adler and Patrick Vellner are all gone. That puts Jason Hopper back. It puts him in second. Lazar Jukic, maybe third. Guy, fourth. But and then they're going to have to deal with Samuel Cornwall, fifth. I just told you the top 5 guys for 2023 CrossFit Games.
Oh, man,
I mean, the rest of these guys are toast. I don't know what the fuck Saxon's doing.
I was so bummed that Cornwall messed up the Rogue Online qualifier. He, based on his performances, he would have won the qualifier and been able to compete at Rogue this year, which would have been incredible to see. Then we could have actually had a data point. And
what happened?
He didn't weigh his weights.
Same thing. Oh, fuck.
How many people did it affect? Do you know?
No, as I was saying earlier, we still don't know. I mean, Barbell Spin reported 25 plus whatever, but that was it's still going. And that was only on workout 1 that some of those guys had an issue. Now you're starting to see Colton Mertens was in he'd bumped all the way up to 5th, but then now he's listed as 0 reps for event 3. I don't know what happened, why he's got 0 reps for event 3.
Can someone pull that up? Leaderboard for Rogue?
So anyway, the point of there is I would have loved to see Sam Cornwall at Rogue this year because he obviously took the year off to compete with Rich on the team. We knew that was going to be a one-time and done type of thing. I think it was really good for him in terms of a mental perspective to have that experience competing with Rich, training with Rich, learning from him all year long, feeling what it's like to win. And I would have liked to see him at Rogue this year so I would know if Sevan's got a case and a point here that he could be a top 5 contender. I do think he could be a top 10 contender. I'm not sure about top 5. Wait, this is live right now?
Yeah, I literally looked right.
I have a screenshot from this morning of this. I've been taking screenshots every morning of this leaderboard, and Colton had 0 reps for workout 3.
Can you scroll so I can see what the workouts are a little bit? Scroll down a little bit.
Ridiculous. Stop updating the leaderboard after every little adjustment. Tell us you're reviewing the workouts, and when you're done reviewing them, post a finalized leaderboard.
There we go. So there's only 4 workouts?
Yeah.
I want to send you something right now, Sevan. Can you, if I send you something, can you pull it up on your?
Send
it in the chat. if you can.
Come on.
Okay. If not, just text it to me.
This is so you're saying earlier today Colton's workout 3 wasn't had a 0 and now it says 15 reps.
I just sent it, Caleb. You should be able to pull that up and you can see this is a leaderboard this morning when I woke up.
It looked
When I'm
maybe he
sending
was
it out.
dinged because look how low his well he is the same as Jack Farlow.
Do you know if Justin's doing the qualifier? Or not the
Justin who?
qualifier. Justin Medeiros is doing the road.
He said he was, I think, when he was on my podcast.
So him and
He said he's
Roman are
not
both
training
gonna be
for
there.
it though. He said he said he's taking a month. He said he should be training for it, but it's more important to rest, so he's resting.
Well, he
He's in-
said the same thing last year, and he still won. So I put everybody in an equal field.
Someone wrote, is CFHQ running the road? I don't think it's that bad. I don't know if I agree with Brian about the leaderboard. They have, but don't they have somewhere on there, Brian? Didn't you say that says this isn't? As long as they have an asterisk on there that says, "Hey, this is being changed, modified," right?
Yeah, it's at the top. It says this is from this morning when I woke up.
Okay. Oh shit, Colton's gone.
Do you want to do the
And Tetlow's there in 3rd. Here's Colton in 11th.
So why can't they? Why are you upset that they keep changing it if what they're doing is trying to get precision and
Because
if
the
they
athletes
haven't,
want to compete in the off season.
right?
If they qualify for Rogue, they're not going to do other competitions. For example, the Zelos Games is hosting 12 male and 12 female athletes the week after Rogue in Vegas for an online competition that's kind of like an open style. They don't know the workouts. They come in, they do 2 workouts on Saturday, 2 on Sunday, and it kicks off this 2-week online portion of the competition. There's money to be won there. If you don't make it for Rogue, the guy is going to invite someone like a Colton Mertens. But if he does make Rogue, he's not.
But what
And
are
so-
these changes? What are these changes? These changes are just happening. I mean, it's only a few more days of this before it's finalized, right?
It's been like 5 days of rolling changes. Manu Nangonis was in 2nd, then she was in 20th. Now she's in 1st. It's weird. It's not conducive to an easy environment for athletes to plan around.
She can't come anyway.
Why not?
She's not allowed in the United States.
Why not?
Didn't take the forced injection.
Okay.
But anyway, that doesn't disprove your point. I just wanted to get that in there. Hey, did you see that those athletes over there? Did you see her case? Basically, I guess there were some athletes over there that they didn't get the notification what the workout is until 10 p.m. and then it was like due the next morning or some shit. Is that true? That kind of sucks for them.
I don't know. I just think that in all of these cases, when there's an online competition, it would be much cleaner because people are paying attention. The athletes are paying attention. The media is paying attention, and everyone gets excited about this stuff. Just say, we're having an online competition. There's going to be a review process. It's going to be when the leaderboard is finalized, we'll populate it. Just say that.
I like it that it changes as long as they tell you it's changing. Gives us something to talk about. It's exciting.
I would classify it as a different word, but okay.
Shit show? You think it's a shit show?
I think it's annoying. I think it's annoying for the
I agree with
athletes.
Brian. I don't think they should put anything up until everything is finalized and just give you a date. Like in a week, we will have a finalized leaderboard. Please bear with us.
It's
And
the
then when
same,
it comes out,
it's
official.
it's a similar conversation to the quarterfinals. It took 39 days for them to finalize the quarterfinal leaderboard. Why? Why is it taking so long? It's ridiculous. The athletes and the fans and the coaches and the events need to be able to plan for this stuff. If you can't run an online competition,
39 days is too long.
if you can't run an online competition and have the results turned around in 1 week, finalized one time, then don't run the competition. You're not qualified to. Where did John go?
I don't know, but that gives me a chance to ask you this. So are you saying, do you think that Vellner and Fikowski and Bjorgvin, Carl Goodmanson should retire? Do you
No. I mean, look, if their only goal is to win the CrossFit Games, I don't think that they can do it anymore. But I don't think that that's their only goal. And I think there's a huge value in terms of legacy and still earning potential to be able to place in the top 10. There's a lot of sponsorship endorsements. There's a lot of impact that they can have on the sport, the community.
Can they still have fun? John, I was asking him, does he think that Vellner or Fikowski or Bjorgvin should retire? And he's saying no. And he's giving all these reasons, but these dudes only want to go if they think they can win, right?
I think if there's a chance at the podium, they'd want to go. You have to think they're making money to work out.
I don't even think
Like,
you guys
there's-
think that they can podium. I think you guys think that I'm hearing that you guys think that they're.
I think they can podium. I think any one of those three guys can podium. I think the years of being second or first is over.
I'll also say this, and I hope that this is the case. Adrian Bosman made a point this year to say, I know where the athletes are weak. I know where they have not been preparing for. And in my opinion, his programming was too extreme in that regard of trying to expose all of those things at once. And it did, and for certain athletes, it did create a different experience in terms of their performance and positioning on the leaderboard. I think it could have been rolled out a little bit differently. But the fact that he chose to do that, my hope is that next year that he reminds the athletes that what you think you're preparing for is not what you're preparing for, and that the test looks dramatically different, and that there are different areas of fitness that are exposed, and the things that athletes think that they need to prepare for based on this past year are almost irrelevant next year, because there's other elements of the complete test of fitness that you also need to be good at. And that's where someone who's very well-rounded and balanced, like a Justin Medeiros or Mallory O'Brien, will still be good. But you might see some of the guys, like John was saying, like Ricky, who had this string of like 6 or 7 straight top 7 finishes to start the week. He might not get dealt such a great hand next year. And instead, he might have 8 workouts like he had this year, which were, 12th to 20th or whatever they were. That start the weekend. And when you start the weekend with 6 straight workouts outside the top 10 instead of 6 inside the top 10, I know it's an extreme example, but mentally that's a lot different for you to prepare with. And you look at someone like a Dallin Pepper. The first 8 workouts of this weekend were terrible for him. He was just getting exposed left and right. And what does that do to your psyche? And is that something that you can rebound and bounce back from and have a good finish to the weekend? If he gets dealt a good hand up front next week, it might be totally different. And that's, I think, the ordering of events matters, the things that the programmer is trying to expose or highlight, that not just one athlete, but the whole field of athletes is neglecting in their training and preparation is important. It's okay to have that. But yeah, there's like you guys are talking about, there's a lot of guys that are in the mix, and the way the structure of the overall programming can have an impact on the way that some of this plays out.
I think somebody like Hopper could benefit hugely too if he had a great first day, because he came back and got 7th, I believe. And he was like 31st place after day 1. It was really bad. He had 3 straight really bad events. And just by having a little bit different events, if those 35th places are 15th, then he's easily in the running to podium as well.
By the way, if you're looking at the leaderboard and you think John's wrong about that, don't forget that the shuttle to overhead did not happen 2nd and 3rd. So the first 3 workouts he did were actually 18th, 28th, 29th, and he was way down there on the leaderboard. It doesn't look that way when you look at the leaderboard, because they list shuttle to overhead.
Okay, good stuff. Great point. Often you'll hear, we're off script now because I don't want to do question number 4 until the next show. Often you'll hear that the men are deeper. That there's a deeper field of men. Okay. But when I look at the women's competition next year, I think the top 20 women are better than the top 20 men. I feel like that there's a reshuffling. There's almost like next year is going to sort of be this cleansing of the men. It may be the worst year in men's competition. And maybe the women's best.
There's a lot of new blood in the women next year.
Yeah, man. The women's seems. Is that true? The men is deeper, but the top 20 or top 50 women are actually the better athletes, better competition to watch, invest time and energy into.
I don't know. It's like you have to go a little bit further down the men's leaderboard at the games and ask yourself, are guys like Jay Crouch, Enrico Zanoni, Baden Brown, Colton Mertens, Cole Grayshaber, Tudor Magda, that are still young and ascending in their career, going to push into that top 25, top 20, top 15 conversation? And you're still going to add some guys back in, possibly Chandler Smith, Samuel Cornway, who you've brought up. You might lose a couple, but you're going to have an influx of new blood on the men's side too, or a resurgence of some of these guys. Maybe, like, I don't think it's outside of the realm of possibility that Tudor, Magda, and Cole Grieshaber improve dramatically from this year to next year. They both looked really solid at semifinals. It's always going to be hard to qualify out of North American semifinals, but I think they can do it again, and I think they can do a lot better at the games than they did this year.
And somebody like Dallin. Dallin can improve a lot. He could be in top 10 next year as well.
Well, I think that's what Sevan's looking at, is if you look at this, like, You see 11 through 20. You have Saxon. It's kind of an unknown. How good is Saxon? Can he get any better? Has he already peaked? Noah Olsen's getting older. Cole Sager's getting older. Nick Matthew was at the games this year. He's 28. Can he do that again? Ionikowski's not that old, but he's, this is the worst performance he's had in a while. It was a tough season for him with the surgery, with an illness. He had to go through LCQ. We'll see. Fikowski's getting older. Or what Willie George are we going to see? Travis Mayer's getting older. And then you have Dallin and Spencer that I think, are younger and can be good. So, but on the women's field for 2 years in a row now, we've had like 6 to 10 women that were not in the field that could be really relevant in the games field. So I'm just curious to see if maybe this next year, Sevan could be right, where if all this new blood that we're going to talk about probably on the next show, plus some of the older guard, like can Jamie Simmons get back on track and be relevant in a semifinal and at the games? Can Katrin come back if she wants to? Can Sarah come back? Will Annie return to the individual games field?
You think Cara? I kind of think Cara will.
Is Cara done? Is she?
It'll be interesting to see where she is next year.
Toast.
Anyway,
toast. But 3 of those 4 are toast.
But if some of these
Sarah,
women
Cara,
come back,
and Katrin are toast.
But if some of these women come back, and you also have I don't know if Bethany Shadburn's going to try to compete again next year.
No, I'm out on Bethany Shadburn. I believed in her so badly for like 3 straight years, and she's just never came through.
It was pretty.
She's America's Jamie Simmons.
It is
Sevan, why are they toast? Because their age?
Yeah, their age. And everyone's gotten too good. It's just too good. The freaks are out now. It's turned into the women's division's turned into a freak show. Tia set the bar so fucking high, and now we have people like Emma Lawson, Olivia Kerstetter, and Emma Carey. What Emma Lawson did this year is fucking mind-boggling. But another show. I want to ask you one more question about Roman. But how?
By the way, just so you know, yes, Emma Lawson's young and compared to this other person, but Alexis Raptis was only 34 points behind her. She's a rookie, also finishing the top 10 this year. So I think she hasn't been getting enough credit. And
looks like she has a crazy head on her shoulders. She looks like she got her shit together. Go ahead. I want to talk about Roman real quick. With our 3 minutes left, how important is this year's experience for Roman? Like, there's a good chance that maybe he'll be 5% better now just because he believes in himself. Like he hung with the monsters and he's like, oh shit, I am one of the monsters.
I don't buy that. I think Roman came into this year and was like, I'm better than all of y'all. I'm letting y'all know y'all can't hang with me. I think Roman is the most confident person in the whole field. Like when he does an event, he looks like I'm just better. Like his facial expressions, there's no worry to him at all. Like I feel like Medeiros, when he doesn't know if he's going to be good in an event, like he looks angrier. He's very focused. He's trying to get in the mode of I'm about to hurt myself to win right here. And I do not see – and Ricky looks scared at times. I don't see that with Roman at all. I don't think there's the
sandbag event maybe specifically. Definitely Roman seemed more casual. Not that any of them seemed casual, but Ricky and Justin were intense.
Yeah, they were. And they both did amazing.
They were going to fight.
They ended up beating him on that workout.
Yeah, they both
early in the early rounds, you would have bet on Roman.
Yeah. I would have. Yeah, no, they both did amazing. I'm just saying from a confidence perspective, I don't think there's anybody who's on a better mindset than Roman. Guy, he's a machine.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with that, but I will say that Roman has done a ton of competitions in the parts of the world that he was able to compete over the last several years, and he has a lot of competition pedigree. But this was the CrossFit Games is different. There aren't any other competitions that are. That's a good point too. Their mindset in Russia, especially when you come from the part of Russia. Well, it's just
Siberia.
Where it is. It's a tough mindset. That's just it's definitely an asset. Experience does matter. You do learn a lot going through that the first year, and whether you're confident or not, there's certain nuances and elements of competing at the CrossFit Games over those 5 days against that caliber of field that he will draw upon that will make him even more formidable next year.
I think just living in the U.S. this year and training without the doubt that he'll be here, he doesn't have to go through that process again. It's done. Will help him. I think he will improve just from that fact alone.
Caleb. Hi. Thank you. Thank you. Just thank you. Yeah, thank you. Next week, I think this will be sooner than later, although Brian has a bunch of shows coming up. But the 3 topics we need to cover is Tia really the best CrossFitter of all time or the fittest in history out of men and women? Not just that needs to be talked about. Higher expectations for next year's crew. Emma Carey, wow. Annika Greer, wow. And Olivia Kerstetter. And then finally, fittest in Europe. We'll be talking about that on the next show. John Young, you're a beast. Brian, you're the greatest that ever lived. Caleb, just thank you.